Hello everyone, my name is Rick van Bruggen from Neotechnology, and here I am again interviewing a lovely community member all the way from Gran Canaria in Spain, Alberto Perdomo from GrapheneDB. Alberto, so nice to have you on the call.
Hi, Rick, and thanks for having me.
It's super great to have you here. I mean, you've been one of the prime and most visible community members for Neo4j for as long as I can remember, because you've been doing GrapheneDB, but I mean, most people won't know you yet, so why don't you introduce yourself?
So, yes, my name is Alberto Perdomo, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of GrapheneDB. And GrapheneDB itself is a fully managed cloud hosting service for Neo4j. So it's basically a service that runs Neo4j for you on AWS, on Microsoft Azure, and so on.
Wow, and how long have you been doing this?
We started in 2012, but early on it was just proof of concept, prototypes, and so on. And in 2013, we started with an early private beta and started inviting users to try out the service.
Yeah.
And then eventually, it took us quite some time, but at the end of 2013, we started having our first paid customers. In 2014, we went GA. So that means the service went publicly available.
That's quite a ride, huh? I've been using it myself, in the sandbox. I love it. I love it for demos and little things that I write about. So thank you for providing that.
Yeah, no, it's great. There's all sorts of use, and every time I meet someone, I'm surprised by the use cases. Some people use it just for prototyping, throwaway databases. Like you, for example, you use it to prepare some sample data sets, and other people use it for, all sorts of things, their hobby projects and all kinds of production deployments, everything.
So just out of interest, how many instances are you running on a normal day? Any idea?
Running on a normal day, I don't know. We have this thing where we actually stop databases, sandbox databases, which are free and which are not in use. They are stopped after a while when they're idle. So I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know thousands probably. In general terms, we are hosting in total more than 10,000 databases. But to be honest, that does account for a lot of inactive databases.
Yeah, sure. Well, but it's still a big number. I'm very impressed. Very, very well done.
Yeah.
That's great. So where did it come from, Alberto? How did you sort of get into graphs and how did you get into GrapheneDB? How you tell us that story, maybe?
Yeah. So I've been telling everyone the wrong story, and the wrong story. Let me explain why. I've been telling everyone that in 2010 we were working on a client's project, and we thought of using Neo4j, and we didn't end up using Neo4j, but for us it was when we discovered that there wasn't any hosting service out there for Neo4j or any other graph database. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to use it. But we were relying heavily on Heroku and other cloud hosting services, and there was no option out there. And for other relational and NoSQL databases, there were options out there, for Redis and for MongoDB and so on. So this is where the idea came from. But and this is true, and this is still true. This is how the idea came together. But I remembered, I think a few weeks back, I remembered why we were, my question was, why were we looking at Neo4j in the first place? How did we get to know Neo4j? And now I remembered.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah, so we attended RailsConf conference in Baltimore in the US in 2010.
Okay.
And there was a presentation by a guy called Matthew Dieters, and he made a presentation about putting user recommendations in your apps. So he actually spoke about the patterns, and he introduced Neo4j for Rails using Neo4j RB by Andreas Ronge, and this is how actually I met Neo4j and graph databases in the first place.
Oh, no way. Okay.
But I had it was hidden in some dark corner in my head,
Very cool. So and then, how did that evolve into, I want to build a product around this, or I want to build a service around this? How long did it take you for for that to materialize?
So for 2 years, between 2010 2012, it was a mix of we went up and down, like, hey, there's no service for it, let's build it. And then, are we crazy? Why isn't there a service for this out there yet? Of course, we knew, especially back at that time, graph databases didn't have such big spike in popularity as they have right now. But still, we didn't know, if there were any special reasons for not being a service out there, and so on. But eventually, 2012, we started working on it, and early on, we were just focused on the technical aspects. How we would do the hosting, how would everything work out, and then we focused on bringing out beta, and we didn't do even much validation around the idea. Yes, we had a website where people could sign up, for early access and so on, but we didn't do any kind of any special experiments to test, how easy it would be to monetize such a service or to run, efficiently. But it turned out well, and things were progressing. And when we started inviting people, the feedback was positive. A lot of people found it very helpful, and they would send feedback back saying like, hey, this is a great service, we really love it, it's really useful to us. So that made us kept us working on it until it eventually became a business.
So what's the main attraction point, you think, to Neo4j as a database category or as a database type? And then specifically, to using it in a cloud environment, what's the main attraction, you think?
I think it's the flexibility. So for one, I'm seeing a lot of people use it for its flexibility in terms of modeling data and connecting data, and then being able to query it all together. Because some of the other models are very restrictive in the way that you need to model your data. So if you're looking at relational databases, they could be called as well, tabular databases, because everything, needs to be mapped onto tables.
They're very anti-relational, actually.
Yes. So they're very, very, very strict and very rigid. And with other, databases, like, let's say, document databases are very flexible in terms of schema of what you can store within a document. But again, they're not very good in terms of how you connect data. So I think Neo4j and graph databases in general are a great middle ground, and they excel at connecting, at actually where all others are actually failing, which is, leveraging the connections in your data.
It's actually really funny that you mentioned that, because when you think about it, it's so logical that you combine that with the flexibility of the cloud model, right? So you have the flexible database, flexible data model, and then you have the flexible deployment model. It's kind of logical.
Yes. So why cloud? So there's, I guess this depends on the kind of the segment of user we're talking about. For some, it's just convenient. If you want to, like I myself, when I'm trying to answer a question on Stack Overflow, for example, I need to do some queries or insert some data. I don't set up a local Neo4j instance on my computer for that, or I don't work on any of the instances I have. I just go to GrapheneDB, I spin up a new sandbox. Yeah. It takes a second, and then I have a database that I can use for testing. So for those kind of users, it's just convenience and easy to use, and the way that you can have multiple databases and swap them and
That makes total sense.
go to one on the other. Now, for others, it's more like the fact that some companies want to stay competitive in the way that they think that outsourcing their operations to the cloud is
Cheaper.
It's an area where they can save money and they can be more efficient. And AWS, at their scale, is always going to be probably more cost efficient than any data center that you can run internally.
Thing,
And then there's another group, sometimes combined, which is the people that think we don't want to be dealing with hosting. I want to be using Neo4j. I don't want to be learning how to operate Neo4j. And those are, let's say, our best customers are those who value their time and they want to focus on delivering value to their clients and looking how they can integrate Neo4j with their product, and they don't want to be rolling security updates to the servers or performing version upgrades of Neo4j and stuff like that.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, Alberto, we're conscious of the time a little bit here because I know my listeners and they like short and snappy podcasts. So I'm going to ask you one more question. Where is it going? What does the future hold? Both for the industry and for GrapheneDB. Any perspectives?
So let's start in the reverse order. So for GrapheneDB is we are now new technology enterprise partners since last year. We are doing a number of deployments with Neo4j Enterprise for our customers.
That's really cool, by the way.
Which means we have we can cater the hobbyist who needs to have a free database to play around with, to very serious deployments on the cloud. And this is where the service is heading, that to make sure that we can cater those customers and they have all the features that they need. This is for GrapheneDB where it's heading right now. And in terms of the market, I think OpenCipher is really promising. Whenever I myself am a huge Cypher fan, and everyone
who isn't,
yeah. And if when I've run training, everyone gets super excited about Cypher, like from day one. Like after 2 hours, they're
so powerful.
Super excited about Cypher. So I think OpenCipher is great at catalyzing this potential, and it excels really at making it visible to the user. So if you are looking at Neo4j, you can see really quickly how you can extract value from it, rather than having to, let's say, spend 2 weeks learning how to query graph. Now, and besides the query language, I think the cloud is getting huge. I am excited to see what kind of improvements can be added to Neo4j specifically for cloud in terms of scaling. There's a lot there, and then again the adoption. I think I'm increasingly talking to a number of people who just got to know Neo4j recently, and they are so excited, and they can see the potential. We know what connected data they can exploit within their app or within their database, and I expect a growing number of companies to do that and to jump on the Neo4j boat.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. I mean, I think you've been a very, very valuable contributor to this entire ecosystem. I really I have tons of respect for that. So thank you for doing all the hard work, and I think it's great to have you as part of the ecosystem. Hey, Alberto, we're going to wrap up here. Thank you so much for coming online. I hope it wasn't too late for you, and I really appreciated talking to you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Rick, and thanks to Neo Technology for putting such a great technology together. And it's a pleasure to work with you.
Same here. All right. Talk to you soon, man. Bye.
Yeah. Talk to you. Bye.